We will slowly start with a yoga session by Jatinder, and everybody who joins in, we hope to just understand from everybody else who's following Jatinder to do the same. So let us put ourselves on mute and then the yoga instructions.
And whatever we are doing, you can, if you want to go on a mat, that's also fine. And you can also try to do also on sitting on a chair. That can also work. That's not a big problem. So probably some of the movement you are not able to do, but still a lot of movement you are able to do even sitting on a chair. So this is what I'm going to do. It is also meant for yoga for a break. Even if you're sitting on a chair in your office, then you can do some of those exercise. Most of the exercise you can do it. Okay, if you're on a mat, then come in an easy pose. And if you're sitting on a chair, so still you can do the yoga too.
Okay, right.
Then you can start. First of all, we're going to start with breathing exercise. And for the breathing exercise, try to sit straight, straighten your spine. Relax your shoulders. Arms are hanging. Face relax. Head is in the middle. And take your right thumb and close your right side of the nose. Inhale from left. And take one finger, close the left side, open the right side, exhale from the right side. Inhale deep from the right side. Close the right side, open the left, exhale. Inhale left. Close both sides of the nose. Hold the breath for some seconds. Open right side, exhale. Inhale deep. Close right side of the nose. Hold. Open left side, exhale. Inhale powerfully. Open right side, exhale. Deep inhale from the right side. Close. Powerfully exhale from your mouth. Open the left side. Inhale. Inhale deep. Close both and powerfully through the mouth, exhale. And take your hand away. Open the both side. We had done it for little less time, but still you can, in the office, you can extend it for 2-3 minutes. And stretch your legs, relax your legs. Even if you're sitting on the chair, start cycling your feet. Change the direction. Come in the middle. Toes towards you. Stretch the toes away, even sitting on the chair. And keep on moving. Once towards your body, once away from the body. In the middle. And relax. Bring your hands, stretch your arms, finger apart. And make a fist, finger apart, and keep on moving. It's Speed up a little. Next time, stretch. Make a crawl. And the snake head. Bring all the tip of the finger and thumb together. And the crawl, back to the crawl. And fingertips, thumb together, snake head. And the crawl. And with all the power, make the snake head, all the fingertips together with the thumb. Relax. Hand on the knees. If you're sitting, start circling as Sufi circles. Even if on the chair, you can try to move as much as you can. Upper body is totally relaxed. Change the direction as you're up front. Gently in the middle. Exhale. If you're sitting on a mat, bring your feet together and make the movement as the butterfly. And bring it down. And relax. Stretch your legs. And if you're on the mat, then come on your, so like this is called the cow position. The hands are in the line of your shoulders, knees in the line of your hips, and you're looking on exactly on the floor, and stretch your left arm and right leg. And if you have the balance, grab your feet and look at the ceiling. The important thing is the position of the head, where you're looking. You're looking at ceiling, and gently come back, stretch it. You're looking back on the floor. Change the hand, change the leg, stretch, inhale, head to the ceiling, grab the feet, and look up. Lose your left foot and stretch, and gently come back. Inhale, go into the triangle. Breathe here. And slowly come down. If you're on the mat, lay on your stomach and gently breathe. Go up in the cobra position. If you're in the chair, try to bring your head back as much as you can. And slowly exhale, come back. And if you're in the chair, stretch up and stretch your arms up. And if you're on the mat, stretch your arms, try to bring your back stretch your back with the power of your hands. And gently come back. Hand on your thighs, inhale. Go up front, exhale in. And this is the movement of camel ride. So like you're moving just the lower part of your back. This is what you can do very good on the chair. Inhale, go up front, head is move back. Exhale, you just move like a cat. Inhale, up front, exhale like a cat. And speed up. Gently in the middle, inhale and bring up your arms. Stretch your arms up. And slowly, gently bring your hands behind your neck. If you're on the mat, inhale, go up. Exhale down. If you're in the chair, just stand up and down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. exhale down, and relax. Stretch your legs. And this is what you can do in standing. If you're sitting on the chair, you can do this exercise in standing. If you're on the mat, just stretch your legs, bring your arms up, gently go down, lightly go back, and exhale, slowly come up front. Grab where you can, your toes, your anklets, whatever. Gently go down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. And next time, stay down, exhale completely, and gently come up. Relax. And slowly 10 minutes are over. I mean, I can do it for another 2 hours, but thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much for this yoga session.
Yeah, my daughter enjoyed it. She said that was
Hello.
You like it, yeah?
Yeah, but I did it on the bed.
Yeah, she did it on the bed.
You did it right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Jatinder, you are also working on a yoga app.
Yes, I stopped working because there were two things. First, I had a very serious bicycle accident in summer, and I was in hospital for a while, and now everything is fine. And secondly, because of the corona, I talked to some marketing people. The thing is, like, everything has changed and nobody's knowing how people are going to behave after corona time. So we are on the back foot to see how we develop the app. So we are waiting.
Keep us posted on the Slack channel.
Sure.
If it's an open source one, you should post it there and we will make contributions.
Yes, it is. Like, you know what my philosophy is. So my philosophy is that yoga should be totally free of any charge. This is what we have in India, and this is what I'm trying to spread here. And I'm also almost teaching just free of charge. If somebody wants to contribute with the cost and everything, that's fine. That's it.
That's awesome. Good luck.
Thank you again for the session. I don't know if you have a Twitter account, you should post it on Meetup and on our Slack. Yeah, this was a great way to jump from work to the Meetup.
Yeah, sure. I will. Okay.
Super.
Thank you.
Welcome everybody who joined, and I hope you had fun doing this quick stretch. We are kicking off this event officially, yeah. Thanks, Ruba, for sharing the slides.
Welcome.
So to keep everything on point with the schedule, we'll tell you about ourselves in a quick 5 minutes, and then we will kick off. So what is interesting about us? I say each of the 4 organizers who are on the call will say one thing that they find interesting and one thing that they found helpful. And I can start by saying that I find it interesting that all our events are always driven by the community. So it means somebody comes and says, hey, I would like to host a talk about something, or I would like to listen to a talk about something. And then this is how we get somebody from the community to give this talk, and this is how we organize events. Ruba, how about yourself?
Yeah, for me, actually, it's, during this pandemic and quarantine, everything is challenging, and it's really hard to concentrate. Job and community, which is really always important to me. I mean, it's all about organizing yourself. So I'm trying always to plan my day, to plan what I'm going to do, to plan my projects and my activities. It's working fine. Thank God. Yeah. So, yeah.
Corina, would you like to tell from your experience? So you've been an organizer for so many years now.
Yeah, it's been quite a few years. I have to say that from my side, I managed to do our one and only in-person event a year ago, and I'm still remembering it. But what I found super interesting, and I'm enjoying it a lot, is the fact that we moved to online events also meant that people from all over the country or from all over the world can join us. So we're no longer bound by Berlin, and being able to reach a certain location at a certain time or a certain evening. Now it's much more accessible for absolutely everyone, and open. And I really love this. I think it's great to share knowledge with each other and put all this content out there.
Victoria, you recently joined as an organizer, I would say one of the fresher ones. So what is your perspective as an organizer? What do you like about the community from what you saw so far?
So for me, what I found interesting and helpful, and the reason why I decided to join, is the community behind it. So the events are very diverse, but you also can go there and about different topics, but you can go there and meet people that are in the same situation that you are. So right now in Berlin, but now that everything is online, as Karina said, can be anyone for anywhere in the world. And that community also shows in Slack. So if you post something interesting, there's always some conversation about it if you ask for help as well. And that's what I like the most.
Sorry, I left for a second, but would we like to tell a little bit about the events that we held last year and the plans that we have for this year? So the first event we have planned for this year, sorry, what you were saying.
Oh, that's cool.
We have a financial series of talks that we held last year. All of them are recorded and uploaded to our YouTube. And we have one more talk coming just next week on the 28th. All our events are always announced on Meetup. That's where we host them. We host them on a second platform that is called the GDG. And this kind of came to be because people just said we would like to know more about finance. So even though it's not kind of directly tech related, we still found it very interesting for the community. And it is good to say that if special requests for events that you have, if it's teaching Android, teaching Java, how to write your CV, or how to handle your finance, or to train your cat, anything works. Tell us. We're listening on Slack, and we would love to make events that are relevant and interesting. And of course, going online, the demand is different, so feedback will help us make the best events. And without further ado.
Yeah. So, yeah, in general, like as women tech makers, so yeah, we are always trying to organize events, workshops, as Natalie said. I mean, last year we had plenty of events, even although the challenge doing these online events. So we had the financial series organized by Natalie. We had Remarkable workshop. It was very successful. One also organized by Corina. And we had a lot of events regarding job search and career development. We had many events like organizing study groups for JavaScript or for React. And we had also some remarkable, like nice events about accessibility, for example. It's really nice that we are 8 organizers. Many volunteers are always like connecting and talking to us. And also, yeah, please, anyone, please reach us through our channels, Slack, Meetup, our Facebook page, our YouTube, so we can really collaborate with each other to make a better scene in Berlin, for women, for the tech scene, actually, to make it better and diverse and inclusive for everyone. Yeah. And it's really great. I mean, it's a good, yeah, you know, when you see that people are getting, I mean, learning something, doing something, you are doing some change, it's really, really nice. It will give you a nice feeling, yeah. And this cat is great as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Black
And,
cats are really...
I would like to use the chance to invite, to have Java invite Corinna to present our first speaker.
Thank you. So for tonight, our first speaker is Pati Jurek. She's a Google Developer Relations Regional Lead for Germany and Women Techmakers Europe. She is currently working with all the Google Developer Programs, so GDG, GDE, DSC, and WTM, which stands for Women Techmakers, within the DACH region, as well as being directly working on initiatives with Women Techmakers across the European region. Coming from an international background, working in startups and across sales, marketing, and software development, she has gained insight into various ways of working. She's now the Google DevRel ecosystem. She's part of the Google DevRel ecosystems for over a year now. And she notably worked in 2020 on the Global Dev Fest, which were various community-driven efforts across Europe. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Maybe, Ruba, if you can.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, give me a second so we can help. Here we go.
Oh, hi everyone. It's great to see everyone on the call tonight. And welcome to everyone who is coming from Women Techmakers Berlin, but also outside of Berlin. And thank you for Corinna for sharing my slides and introducing. So as earlier mentioned, I'm part of the developer ecosystems team. I'm Pati. There are my slides coming. And yeah, just to give you a little bit of an introduction of the ecosystems team in general. We are an engineering program that's on the ground, and we are working with community managers and drive global programs which follow a little bit the principle of one to few to many model. So we try to nurture influencers. We want to work very closely with communities like yours everywhere. And we want to obviously also boost Google technology, adoption, quality, and perception. So my job is to speak to you, basically, see what you enjoy about our products, also feedback to our product team what you don't like about them, and make them better. As mentioned earlier, we have different programs like Women Techmakers, GDG, DSC, Accelerator program, which is working closely with startups. And yeah, the second slide, as you're seeing, it's referring to Women Techmakers, which you're fairly familiar with, I would say. It's driving, obviously, women in tech, their visibility, and also just their the community within tech. So we have over 200,000 members and 1,000 ambassadors worldwide, and around 230 ambassadors across Europe. And this program is committed to providing and ensuring that women globally have the skills and are supported what they need to be leaders in the tech industry. Next slide, please. So with Women Techmakers in collaboration, we've came up with a different event series that's happening in February, which is called Women Developers Academy. And the main goal, just as Women Techmakers have in mind, is to train technical women to be leaders in the industry. And what we mean by that is that we've seen a lot of underrepresented genders in tech in conferences. And we've seen that the lack is not coming from a lack of knowledge or skill, but rather helping them in upskilling in speaking, writing, and other contributions within the community to build their confidence and resilience within that. So this program has this goal and the opportunity, and is giving out the opportunity to learn new things about public speaking, crafting persuasive presentations, especially technical presentations, and feeling just comfortable presenting on a bigger stage, but at the same time also giving you the confidence right now to present online, which is obviously a very different challenge than just being in-person events. Next slide, please. To give you a quick history of the Women Developers Academy, it started out in Southeast Asia, and the numbers are just for me as a program and project manager, they're really amazing. So we had 97% of satisfaction rate. 70% of graduates went on to speak on events. And this is our main goal, right? Give you every tools to hand to be able to do this. If you click the next one, it should show you as well that 100% of the participants just felt confident about presenting and speaking at events. So the reason to do this was really achieved within South Asia. And that's why we really want to drive this program or event series now in Europe. And it's coming up for Germany in February. So if you click to the next slide, just to give you another idea of how necessary this academy and working towards this goal is. Next click, please. Usually 25% of keynote and speakers are only women. So what you see in general, and this is across locations and no matter what size of conferences there is, women are usually outnumbered by men on the stage by 4-1. I'm sure you have kind of experienced that in your professional life throughout. And that's why we really want to drive this program and want to try it out for Europe and now in Germany as well. And I'm hoping personally that this becomes like a general habit and we will be able to have this program going on at least twice a year going forward. Next slide, please. And this is just a little bit of an idea for you to see what the agenda will look like. We will have twice per week workshops from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 with different speakers. Natalie will also be involved in a little bit of a Q&A session during the introduction, since she is a very, very active person in the community, being a G lead, GDE, and also Women Techmakers lead. So kudos to that. But as you can see, we do have different topics like cultivating confidence, online speaking practice, how to spot opportunities and selecting topics, how to write up your speaker bio, and the last but not least, kind of graduation day will be live speaking practice with like live feedback. So I'm super excited about this. And the reason for obviously having this presented here is that, next slide, please. The event series is starting in February and the interest forum is still open until tomorrow. I'm going to select applicants for this cohort tomorrow. And if you feel like you're interested in this, you want to become a part of this, and you feel like you want to learn more about public speaking and just feel more confident presenting your technical knowledge in front of a bigger audience, feel free to apply. We would be super happy to have you and work on these topics for you. And the main, or one of the few reasons why we are doing this, obviously, apart from giving all the tools to hand for our community, is next slide, please. Is the fact that we also have a program that is called Google Developer Experts. So we've touched a little bit on this. But to give you a little bit of an idea of what the GDE program is, I wanted to propose that here as well, since I know there's a lot of savvy people here on the group, and you might have not come across as extensively with this program yet, but you might be a suitable candidate as well. So next slide, and another one. The Google Developer Experts is one of the few global programs where we build a community of people who like to share their knowledge and passion. So it's really, really, really important that you're sort of like an influencer of the tech that you stand behind and you're really interested in. And this could be various different technologies that you're interested in. Most experts are developers and engineers, but there's also people that are coming from a data scientist background or even product managers in the community. Next slide. What do the experts usually do? They tend to create tutorials, content online. There's been a lot of people who are doing podcasts, especially since the last year, and blogs. We have on average around 11 million readers who are looking into this content. People are publishing videos, workshops online. They are part of things like International Women's Day, DevFest. They speak at large events, and they also mentor people. communities and startups and people that like individuals as well. So they're just very engaged in the community, and they want to drive people to become the best kind of developer they would want to be. They also are a very big part of our kind of little interface between me and you, so giving me feedback as well directly about products, which I'm then feedbacking back to the Google Products team. Next slide, please. We have around developer experts in the world, and 50 around them are in the DACH region. They're very independent. They work by themselves. They have very various backgrounds. Some of them are startup owners. Some of them work in big companies. Some of them are freelancing. So we also really acknowledge that they are from a big and diverse background, because that makes the community diverse, and it will make all the skill set diverse in the end, which is also for them easier to offering their resources. Next slide. Just to give you a little bit of an idea on how to become a GDE, again, to reiterate, next slide, please. There's two main requirements we have. One is obviously the technical expertise that you will have in one specific area. You might be even able to have an expertise in 2 or 3 different areas. That's also common. But then also you would need to show that you have community engagement involved with it. So if you're applying to be an Android Google developer expert, you would need to show relevant knowledge in the field. And there's a little bit of an interview process where you talk to someone from Google, but then also a software engineer or someone in the same field, and they will kind of acknowledge and check what background you have, is the technical expertise up to date, and then also check in your community engagement, just to give you a brief idea. Cool, next slide. These are the product areas that you can look into. So they are fairly, I would say, diverse. It comes from Android, could be Angular, could be Go, Kotlin. We have web, which is currently closed because we have a lot of people applying for web, but this category will become open again from spring 2021. So if you want to apply as a GDE for the web category, you can start on working on the application nevertheless. And once it's open again, feel free to reach out to me directly as well. Cool. So just to summarize it again, I would love to have more GDEs, especially with a female and non-binary background. Also, minorities super welcome. We want to make the conferences that we attend as diverse as the community actually is. So I'm really hoping to see more people speaking those things. And that's pretty much it. I would open up to any sort of questions if there are any. Thanks, Natalie, for posting also the program link.
Thanks, Patty. So for everyone in the audience, please feel free to post your comments on chat. If you would prefer to do so, you can also send it to me privately, and I will read it out loud without mentioning you by name. So whatever makes you comfortable, we're looking forward to your questions.
Should we have the Q&A now or no need at the end?
I'm open to both.
I think we have a bit of time, so we can answer a few questions. We are ahead of schedule. So if there are questions, maybe I have one, Pati, directly for you. In the current GDE program, what's the percentage of women and non-binary representation in there?
In general, we are aiming for 35, but we are currently around 32%. So we're one of the big initiatives this year is also to find more GDEs that are from different backgrounds. So we are very heavily working on this, and it's also my personal interest since I'm now since this year part of the Women Techmakers European team. So it's I'm trying to find any kind of way to find new people. And that's why also the Women Developer Academy is super important to me, because I do see a lot of potential with grooming these people from the academy to be more confident and also apply for this. Because we've seen that a lot of people have the background necessary to be an expert. But what I've seen in my experience so far is that male applicants are very proactive in their application, whereas female, they need to be rather recommended, or I reach out proactively to them. It's a very different kind of procedure. So yeah, I'm talking for people to become a little bit more self-confident and proactively also come forward.
I have a small question as well.
Yes, go ahead.
So, for example, for my case, like I worked with Google, I worked with Go, I worked with so many technologies in Google, but it's now I discover, I consider myself, let's say, expert in other domains more, really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is why, like, does it count? I mean, other non-Google, products or tools or languages, or does it count as well for a Google expert?
No, because technically that's, as I showed to you, that's going to be like the categories that we have. So to speak, you have to see our Google developer experts as a little bit of influencers that are not working for Google, but they live and really breathe the products and they really love them, right? So they are a little bit of a like walking testimonial of these products. So it's a little bit hard. We have assistant, and you could also come from a different assistant background, but obviously it will tailor towards the Google Assistant background.
Thanks.
Always happy. And
we have a few questions in chat. Let me read them out loud. So what kind of level technical experience do you need to apply for the Women Developer Academy?
Okay, that's actually quite open. So we would love for you to have at least 1 to 2 years background in technical knowledge. And at least a little bit of experience speaking, like a completely newbie might be a little bit overwhelmed by the agenda that we have, because we want you to get already to the speed where you could after then speak at an, let's say, global or international Women's Day, for instance. So I would love to have people with a little bit of speaking knowledge, but not obviously at the savvy point, but technical 1 to 2 years. Yep.
And there's a follow-up related questions. Are the technologies for the Women Developer Academy limited to Google technologies?
So the thing about the Women Developer Academy is that we will not touch base directly in any of the workshops with any technical content, because we've seen that the technical content is usually not a problem. We do have mentors during the whole month as well. And some, like most of the mentors, will have also technical, like highlight topics they have. So we do have someone from Cloud there. We have someone from Kotlin. We have someone from Angular. And people will be able to schedule mentoring sessions with them. And you're free to choose if you want to talk about public speaking with them or technical stuff. But the workshops itself will be non-technical related. So obviously, this is a pilot for Germany, and we want to see if it's going to be great like this. We will also collect feedback afterwards and see if we would want to make it more technically focused, or if there's a need for that. But we didn't see that need that much for these other skills to be built out further.
Thank you. Is the bootcamp happening? I assume that it's also related to Developer Academy, happening only once per year.
Yeah, so it's a pilot. So this is the first one for our region in Europe. We have one happening in February in Germany. We have one in UK, Ireland, and we have one in Russia. And what we are hoping to get out of this is gather all the learnings and kind of numbers and feedback from all the participants and mentors at the same time, to make it something really successful for everyone, so we can do it at least twice per year. But this is obviously also down to the success and the welcomed feedback of the people that are going to participate. So I hope it's going to be as successful so we can make it something happening more than once per year.
Okay, thanks. We're going to give you a chance for maybe another minute to ask questions. if you have some.
I have a question. I hope you can answer. What is Google doing other things to also like help more junior women or non-binary people to like succeed in tech, right? Because you were saying like for WDA you need to have at least 1 or 2 years of experience. Like, what's Google doing in around these areas?
So we have academies as well with Grow with Google and the startup section where we are really supporting, let's say, newbies in the scene, right? Where we are also using basically GDEs and GDG leads to be mentors for them. So we are matching them according to what people would assume would be their weak spot or something they would want to work on, and match them then with a GDE that is very savvy and very experienced in that field, to get them to a stage where they feel more confident and maybe want to apply afterwards to be also a GDE or just be more present in the community. But we do that kind of mentoring stuff as well, for sure. And if you are definitely interested in that, feel free. Again, this is also a topic you can reach out to me for. If you feel like, okay, I don't feel comfortable enough to be part of the bootcamp or a Women Developer Academy, I am not good enough to be, or I'm not at the stage I would like to be in order to be a GDE, but I would love to get mentoring. That's also a thing you could reach out for. I also posted a little bit of details for the event series, and there's also the link to apply. So if anyone feels like applying, I would highly recommend to do this by midday tomorrow. I know it's a little bit late for that. The application was open since mid-December. But yeah, I'm happy to spot all the applications tomorrow.
So grab your chance to open the link, take a look, and if you're interested, apply. I think this is going to be an excellent opportunity for yourself. And after you've gone through it, come and give a talk at the Women Techmakers at a Women Techmakers Berlin event. We'd be super excited to have you.
Exactly, that's the perfect kind of starting point once you finish the academy. Also, International Women's Day is happening March and April. I'm sure that would be also a fantastic opportunity to put into action what you might have learned in that time.
Okay, we have one final question to keep us on time. Is there a limit number for participants for the Women Academy?
Yes, there is, because we wanted to make it very like hands-on. We have about 20 to 25 participants we are aiming at. We are having currently around 8 mentors. So we really want for people to have the opportunity to have one-to-one sessions, live feedback. And that only works when you're not around of 100 people. So that's why I'm also hoping for it to be a more regular event series in the future.
Okay, thank you one more time.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for asking your questions. The links are here. I'm gonna copy and paste them also into our general chat on Slack in case you missed any of them. And without further ado, I'm gonna pass it to Ruba, who's gonna introduce our next speaker.
Thank you.
Thanks again, and big round of applause for Pati.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. Thank you, Pati. And thank you, Corina. So our next talk will be, our next speaker will be Gloria Semme. She is the engineering manager, production manager engineering at SoundCloud. So Gloria started by studying mathematics, having a bachelor degree in mathematics. She didn't know what to do after, and she went into tech. And she started with data analytics. Then she became the manager, finally, as a senior and a lead and a manager. And she always tried to help women in tech. And maybe now Gloria will tell us more about her experience and give us more insights about the experience. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I'm really happy to be here, and I've also had some touch points in the past with Women Techmakers, and that's also how I met Natalie. That was at SoundCloud a couple of years ago. We were cooperating on facilitating a Google Golang study jam. So over some weeks, we were like all getting together with women and non-binary people and just like learning together. So that was a really great experience, and yeah, my first touch point with Women Techmakers. Yes, and so I'm really happy to be here today and just to be able to tell you all a little bit about my path, and like I hope like if there's anyone that is kind of like studying their career, like this can maybe be a motivation, and yeah, exactly. So I mean, as Ruba has already mentioned, I studied mathematics. And even before that, like after I finished my Abitur in Germany, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I just realized, okay, I'm good at mathematics. I like math, so I found my way into studying it. And I mean, it was a hard study. And I finished it, and I still had no idea what to do, right? So in mathematics, like it feels like you're learning so much and you definitely know how to think, but like, have you actually learned like anything that makes you employable, right? Like, do you actually learn any kind of like hard skills? So that's the one thing. And the other thing is I kind of avoided all kind of computer science courses in university. There was like a few that I was supposed to take, and I kind of like found my way around it because I never really had any like role model, any female role model that was in tech doing any kind of like programming or yeah, just anything really related to computer science. So I had no idea that was even something that I could like. So at the end of my mathematics degree, and yeah, I've finished a bachelor's. I didn't go for a master's. At the end of my bachelor's, I was kind of like no step further than I was after my Abitur. And so I was, of course, looking into, okay, what can I do? What am I actually skilled for? So what do mathematicians do after their degrees? And I heard, okay, that's banks usually. You can go to a bank, you can go to a consultancy, or to an insurance company. And to me, that all sounded pretty, like, not too great for me personally, right? Like, I wanted to do something a little bit more fun, you know, with young people, and like something that has a little bit more of a, you know, fresher vibe, more innovative. So I was just asking around, and someone told me, oh, try a startup. Like, it's young people, you get to learn a lot, and, you know, they can't really choose who to take because they don't have money. So I thought it wasn't the worst idea. So I applied for quite a few different positions, and yeah, I wrote a lot of applications, and like the only thing I got back was number 26. So that was actually when they just started. I don't know if you maybe know them. It's like a tech online bank. Yeah, so they were just starting, and they hired me as an intern for business intelligence. And I was actually quite surprised that they hired me in the first place. And there you go. You can already see that my confidence was quite low. My confidence was quite low at that point. So in the interview, or even on my resume, because I haven't done anything, I just like put everything on my resume that I've like kind of done. Like for example, like I've done like a I don't know, I think like a short like Java course online just before, like super short thing, and I put Java on my resume, and like I had no idea. I knew what kind of data types are, but that was everything. So like I totally got called out on all the things. So like that was my first like sweaty moment, and I thought I will never want to see this person again, but they hired me in the end. So I felt pretty lucky that actually someone saw like my potential. But yeah, starting in business intelligence, I still had no idea, like, I mean, I felt like I had no skills there, right? But it was actually a really great starting point because I started learning SQL, and SQL for me is very easy, like kind of programming language to be getting into. So that's definitely something, if you have no experience with any kind of programming, I would recommend SQL. It's like a database query language. So you're trying to get basically data out of a database, right? And you don't want to search through it. So you're writing queries to get it out. So that's how I started. And I realized quite quickly that there was a limit to SQL. Like programming in SQL happened in a database. But what if I wanted to connect to things outside of a database, right? So I started to write got my first introduction to programming. So I started writing some Python scripts and integrated some external systems, which was the number 26 systems. Tongue-breaker. I think I should apply for WDA. Anyways, yeah, so I realized there that I liked programming. So I kind of already found out, okay, maybe it's something more engineering style that I want to be doing. But really, I had no idea about like what even happens in the universe of engineering. Like what's even the difference? What are even the different teams a company has? Like what's even the difference between like front end and back end, and what's in between that? So I went on after this internship to look for like a full-time position, and I always really liked SoundCloud, and just because it was like the music streaming website that I was using myself, and back in the day, like SoundCloud was super popular for like techno mixes and stuff, and I was really into that. So I was just looking on their website, and like I never saw any kind of job opening where I felt qualified for the job. So I got lucky, and I saw an analytics internship. I kind of felt like I don't really want to do internships anymore because like I want to make some money, but I also really wanted to work for that company. So I think I did like a pretty smart decision there to like, you know, not go for like a not stay with number 26 with a bank who maybe offers me like a starting salary, but rather go and do another internship, but for something that I'm actually passionate about. So there I really followed my interest, at least maybe outside of the technical scope, right? That was more like my personal interest of like something that I want to support, like some company where I think, okay, actually I feel like I'm working on a cause that I can stand behind, right? So I started in analytics with them, and it was an insights team back in the day. It was combined out of some analytic folks, but also folks working on like the insights engineering, so data warehouse related things. And I kind of jumped on the other side of the team where I was actually hired for, and like just went ahead and like just took all the tasks that were more like engineering type of things, right? And like slowly developed there and learned how a data warehouse works, and how like data pipelines work, how the data even gets into the data warehouse. And yeah, after that internship ended, they offered me a full-time position in analytics, but that was not what I wanted. I wanted to go into engineering. And that was a really interesting part in my career, because my manager told me, you know, I don't think you can do it. You don't have the experience. So that was like, I think it was good for me because I'm someone that gets really like motivated if someone tells me I can't do it. So I said, no, I want that. And you can tell your boss that I want that, and otherwise I have to leave because this is more important for me. And it turned out that Sound actually gave me a chance in engineering, and I joined a data engineering team. And yeah, there it was like actually so much to learn. I felt totally overwhelmed, but also absolutely inspired by all the technology that we were using. A lot of open source technology and distributed systems, and yeah, just a whole universe of things. And all of the engineering tools that any kind of engineering team also uses, like monitoring, for example, and different dashboarding tools. Yeah, but I was in that team probably for around a year or a bit longer, maybe a year and a half, and just like really like step by step got more into it, got more into technology, and like understood everything better step by step. One of the things that like I noticed was that I always felt like I was learning slowly. Like, you know, I had a task and I was like working on it, and I wasn't finished after a week, and I was working on it for another week, and things, you know, were dragging on and dragging on. But when I look at it, you know, a little bit more, when I looked at it after like, let's say 6 months or something, and I looked, what did I actually do the last 6 months? I was always super proud of myself about all of the things that I've achieved. So that's something that I think is one thing that I take, that I'm really taking with me from the last few years, to always like look back and reflect regularly on like what you've actually achieved, because it's really, I think with learning, it's really interesting because it depends on how you look at it. If you look at in a short interval, things just seem very different when you look from a different perspective. Yes, so from there on, it wasn't the end yet. I realized that I really like infrastructure. And IT infrastructure, that's really an area where pretty much no women are in. Like, it sounds like we put a huge effort into like hiring more diverse teams and diverse members. But like infrastructure, I don't know. I have no idea why actually there's so few women, because, or the only thing I can imagine is because there's no role models, because it's not, there's no other reason for not having any women there. Yeah, so I decided I'm really interested in infrastructure, and so I got the chance to move into the SAE team, infrastructure team at SoundCloud, and that was about a year ago. And my like learning journey continued, and I let no one tell me what I can't do, because people in the past have too often told me what I cannot do. And so I continued working, and I continued really challenging myself. And yeah, by the end of the year, I kind of felt I needed another challenge, right? And I felt like I've really reached a lot, but I was always focusing more on my weaknesses than on my strengths. And when I say weakness, it doesn't really necessarily mean like something that I'm not good at all, but something where, you know, I felt like I need more development, right? I need to be a better programmer. I need to be, you know more areas of technology. And of course, sure, like, but honestly, like, everyone can be a better programmer. Like, everyone can know more about technology. It's a massive space. Like, there's so much to learn, right? And that's also what inspires many of us, I believe. But for me, I realized I also really like to work with people, and I really like to develop people and to help them to reach more, for example, in a team, to reach more in a team than they could ever like imagine reaching themselves. And that's also something that I realized, like there's limitations to learning. Everything takes time, and what like one way to really like go beyond is to have a team, right? And to get all these strengths together from different people and just work together, also especially with diverse backgrounds, right? And work together and reach more than you could ever imagine. So there's that's what I've realized, and I decided I wanted to go into technical management. And it's a nice thing because I'm just saying I decided it, but like apparently someone needs to give you a chance, right? But I feel like this is something that I've also reached, like we own our own careers. Like, of course we can get lucky and someone's like, you know, really means well for you and really wants to like, you know, sponsor you in any kind of way. What I've learned is like we really need to own our own careers. And I decided I wanted to be an engineering manager, and that's what I told my manager. And I said I'll be fine to continue doing what I'm doing for a couple of months, but like if you can't offer me that job, I will have to go and look for it somewhere else, right? And yeah, I mean, I guess luck was on my side in a way as well. But just like 2 weeks later, my manager decided to leave the company and offered me that job. So that I mean, I had a really amazing manager, and this is something that they really sponsored me, even just saying, "Hey, I'm leaving, and I'm giving you, or I'm not giving you the opportunity, but like I'm like, you know, I'm voting for you, right? Like I think you can do it. I sponsor you." And I mean, my manager has been at Sangha for 10 years. It was time for him to move on to do something else. Like he's really excited to go and do something else. But yeah, I got the chance now, and I'm only in my new role for roughly 3 weeks now, and I really love it. And yeah, just like really developing a very diverse team. I've already in my first 3 weeks managed to hire 2 more engineers, and yeah, it's really giving me a lot of joy. And one of the things on my mind now for the near future is to also hire a trainee into my team. And I want to focus on someone that's either female or non-binary, and because I feel like there's just not enough women in infrastructure. And IT infrastructure is a super interesting field. It's so exciting. It's really, really exciting. And all tech, all other areas of engineering, all other areas in a tech company are built on infrastructure. Nothing works without infrastructure, right? And yeah, I mean, I can really just recommend you to look at the Google SAE book because yeah, exactly. Google is kind of like, they came out with this I don't even know how to call it, but SAE is like site reliability engineering. It's like a part of engineering that used to be called like DevOps, but it's also not really the same. It's like there's like a different way of DevOps, like a cool way of doing DevOps. And yeah, Google has a free book online. As I mentioned, it's called Site Reliability Engineering. And like, if you're interested in infrastructure, or if you don't know anything about infrastructure, but you might be interested, I would really recommend you to look that up. And I can look for a link just after this and also share it. Yeah, so I really love being in infrastructure. I love being an SAE manager, and yeah, I would really recommend it to anyone else. I guess that's all. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much, Gloria. That was really, really cool and inspiring talk. Thank you, and congratulations for the new position.
Thanks.
Sure, you'll do great. And it's really inspiring for everyone. Please, we can start questions if you have any questions. Really nice to hear this inspiring experience and journey.
No questions.
Thank you for the inspiring talk. Thank you for the. So everyone is thanking you for the great talk.
And I mean, maybe to put it into perspective also, my whole journey has been only 4 years. So like things can go quickly if you own your own career.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we have the first question. Do you have any suggestion for people who like to start internship while they do their PhD students? PhD students.
Should it be an internship or rather like a working student job? Because I feel like during the studies, like I would rather recommend doing a job as a working student, because this goes like, you know, over, like, I mean, you can make some money alongside your studies while already being in a company and making experiences that you would only make afterwards normally. So I would really recommend that.
Yeah, thanks. Another question, what's your hiring process for your trainee?
Sure. I mean, this is, we don't really have a completely sorted out hiring process yet. My manager wants me to settle in my position a little bit before I start hiring and like training more people. But like, I want to go and do everything straight away. So I think this is going to probably happen around March or April, and we will you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn, for example, and like tell me that you're interested, and we'll look through your resume. I mean, we don't really expect super much, like a lot of experience. More, we want to look more into what are your interests, and like try to understand, like you want to see potential rather than experience. Yeah, so that's like, if you're interested, already send me like a message on LinkedIn. I'll hold on to your resume and reach out to you when we start hiring. But also SoundCloud, probably this year will also start another round of offer another round of traineeships in all of engineering. So just like keep an eye on the jobs page, on SoundCloud jobs page this year. Yeah, there's no timing for it yet.
Cool, thanks. Another question, do you think 32 is too late to start learning totally from scratch? I kind of feel I'm late to the game.
Definitely not. I mean, I think I'm 31 now, and I started 4 years ago. I mean, if you're 32 now, like at 36, you can be where I'm now.
Yeah, it's
you can decide whether that's too late for you.
It's never late, really.
Never too late.
Yeah, and in tech you can go really fast. The domain is really big and it's a lot to explore. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah, it's passion, exactly. So apart from coding skills, what other skills did you have to learn to become a manager?
That's a good one. I mean, if you want to be an engineering manager, you need to have some technical background. So they usually want like at least 3, some companies want 5 years of technical experience, right?
Yeah.
But a manager needs more. You need to have people skills. You need to be able to like work with people, to mentor and coach and sponsor them, and to just, yeah, help them develop. And also another task of an engineering manager, of course, is to communicate the vision to your team, and to keep them to do the project management with them, and to keep them accountable to the goals that they set for themselves.
Definitely, yeah. So, few more minutes for questions, maybe. Yeah, a new question. What's the culture like at SoundCloud?
That's a good one. I really love the culture. It's very yeah. How can I say it? It's very diverse. Actually, we put a lot of emphasis on this. I think we're probably between 30 and 40% of women in engineering at the moment. The culture is like it's really easygoing. Like everyone loves music, and we're all very focused on our own development. So yeah, we just like all do a lot of knowledge sharing and helping each other out, and yeah, it's just also celebrating our successes. You know, when we learn something, we want to also celebrate that.
So, I think no more questions. Then I'll move on to Victoria for our next talk. First, I want to thank you very much for your inspiring talk. Really, thank you. It was great. I think it's motivating a lot of women and like diverse people out there. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Oh, there's one more question.
Oh, yeah. One question. I just checked the jobs on the SoundCloud page. Oh, that was quick. There are no open junior positions. Are there positions also think for juniors? Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, I don't know exactly what's on the job page right now. We usually open positions and we don't mark them as junior. So, like, for example, if you want to apply for a backend engineering position and you already have like maybe 1 or a little bit more years of experience in that field, you can apply for it. So we don't really, like, we decide, or we're looking more for a candidate and then we try to find the right role for them in engineering. That's why we don't like advocate it as junior. And for the traineeship roles, I think they're probably going to open in the second half of the year, so they're not open at this point. Yeah, I don't have any dates, unfortunately, for that right now. But we're going to be hiring, I think, 8 or 10 trainees this year.
Thank you. Thanks, Gloria. Thanks again.
Thank you, Gloria. It was very helpful and insightful. I think we all can learn a lot of things from your talk. Now for the last speaker, we're going to have Lisa. Lisa is a marketing lead at 42 Wolfsburg, and she hopes to inspire people like herself who have no background in programming and show that the only barrier of entry is willingness to learn. So also another very inspiring talk.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, no pressure, no pressure.
No pressure at all.
No, I mean, the only thing I can do is share my own story, and I hope it will somehow help you a little bit. Let me just share my screen. Let's see. Because I have a little bit of a presentation, because that helps me, of course, always to have like a lead in my story. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so I didn't put a photo of myself because, well, I hope you can still see me, but my name is Lisa. As before, I don't think everyone else saw it, but I'm actually based in Portugal at the moment, but I am originally Dutch. I come from Utrecht, which is basically like the smaller version of Amsterdam, but then without all the tourists. But for the last 10 years, I lived in Amsterdam. And well, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my journey because it's not super conventional, I'd say, but it's also not entirely different than most people. And I think to start from somewhere, I think I'm actually going to start on a quite a very open way. I don't know any of you, but I'm going to share quite a personal experience for myself, because I guess we all have that feeling of having a bit of an ego voice that really tells you you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or whatever way. I call this the underminer, and I actually have like a little person with that. If I think of my underminer, I don't know if anyone watches the Adventure Time of Finn and Jake, but it's this personality, it's this character from that show. And every time I think of my underminer, I think of this little person. And well, I'm just going to take you a little bit through my story of how I managed to change that voice of the underminer and change it for me and for myself to develop into something that I'm very proud of. And to start somewhere, I think I will have to start with school, because for me, well, I don't know about all of you, but I was not fit for traditional education. And by traditional education, I mean the idea of having a teacher in front of the class. For me, it just didn't work to have like one person in front of a class to give me all the knowledge. For me, that I didn't get inspired to actually take that knowledge and make it my own and think of my own solutions. I was just copy pasting it, and you know, if they would ask a question slightly different, I would not know the answer. And for me, I don't know how your system is in Germany, I have to be honest, but in the Netherlands, you basically get a grade between 1 to 10, 1 being the worst grade and 10 being the best grade. And for me, I always got like a 6, you know, I was just there, it was just enough. But I was not really inspired in education in general. I was about 16 when I was done with high school, and I chose a very, very general study. So it was communications. It was on bachelor level, so I never did my master's. And for me, also there, it was the same issue. Actually, for me, it felt that education was not really built in a way that I could thrive. It was really built in a way for people to elbow their way on the top, and maybe that was just my studies, but that was really my experience. And well, by the end of that, you know, I studied communication, which is very general in any way. And when I was done, I really thought that I was not a fit for jobs. Like I really thought I was not smart enough to actually work and find a job that I would love. And next to that, I didn't even know what I would like, because well, no one really actually inspired me in my whole educational life. So generally, I was really lost. Like I really thought like, okay, Lisa, you're just too dumb and you're never going to make it anywhere. So yeah, so that's where I started from. So this is like really the underminer, the ego, the bad voice that was telling me all these things that, well, hopefully they're not true. Pretty sure they're not. And if I look back, like I just listed this for myself, because for me, what I really needed to learn was, you know, grow confidence, be autonomous, find a curiosity to try out new things, to really find that creative passion inside to me, to find my drive, to understand what I would love and like and would be inspired to do at least for the upcoming 5 to 10 years. And some of the other things that I really did not learn during my studies was to, I don't know if this makes sense, but the idea of learning to learn. I think, well, we are all in the technical world and innovations are growing as fast as possible. And to be able to actually keep up with technology, I mean, obviously hardware, but also software, you know, the length or the pace of new languages and new frameworks and new add-ons on that, it goes so fast. So something that I learned in my school at that day was certainly not something I would use a year later. You know, my studies was very focused on models and strategies and, you know, balances and accounting and all that stuff I didn't care about. And then I was done and I was like, what can I actually do? You know, social media was just coming up, marketing was coming up. You had all these data analytics I did not know anything about. Programming I did not know anything about. So for me, like what I really needed to learn was actually to be able to learn and to adapt new changes and new technology. And then something else that I really needed to learn is that, I know about you, but I'm someone that really thrives from social context and from the idea of learning together. And that was certainly not something that I've learned during my studies. So I just want to like zoom out a little bit because obviously, you know, I got out of school and then, you know, I found a job which was in events, and then it was actually organizing hackathons. So very slowly I started to go into the world of technology. And for me, organizing hackathons was a great soft landing because I could do it from my idea of my social skills and my communications or marketing or event skills. And slowly I start to get into that world and not being afraid for it in a way. But where I actually really learned this was at the moment I landed a job, which was in Amsterdam. It was about 4 years ago, and I was a total noob, like total noob. But they asked me to help them in a small team of 4 back in those days, to help them to set up a programming school in Amsterdam that was called, well, it is called Codam, but it is a 42 Amsterdam school. And in order to explain a little bit what that means, I have to explain a little bit of the whole 42 ideology. So I don't know if anyone knows, very curious to hear it in the chat. But 42 is actually a huge educational model that was opened in Paris. It was started by Xavier Niel. Well, maybe it doesn't say anything, but this is a guy who set up basically the internet in France, and he set up really good big telecom companies all over the world. And he saw a few issues, which I think we can all relate to nowadays. You know, like one, there's not enough programmers. Well, I think that is not a surprise at all, so I won't stick to that too long. But the second, which I think is very important, is that there's a lot of people who do not fit in the traditional systems, like me. People that drop out of high school, people that for some reason it just didn't match, who have the undermining telling them that they don't fit. And third is that there's a lot of people who do not even have access to education because of prices or for whatever reason. And so he started this rigorous software engineering education. Actually, it sounds a bit huge, but it basically means that he started a school that was far from the traditional work. And I will tell you a little bit of how that works. But it basically means that this school, it's a non-profit. So also the school that I set up in Amsterdam was a not-for-profit, and it actually allowed us to offer education, programming education, to students without them paying tuition fees, which I think is very relevant because there's a lot of people who don't have access to that. Obviously, in Germany, I know you have benefits from the government as a student, but in the Netherlands, actually, these benefits are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and in many countries, other countries as well. So just having the idea of no tuition fees actually made the idea of programming for a lot of people suddenly very accessible. And then something else which I think is very, very important, and maybe something to what I can relate to in the talk of Gloria in SoundCloud, is that the idea was also, it was based on the idea of talent and not on, you know, previous education or previous diplomas. Like you do not even need a high school diploma to actually join this school. And well, obviously it was a huge success. They set up a curriculum that basically covers all the parts of computer science. So you have some AI machine learning, some web app development, you have operating systems, data security, you have, I think I missed, of course, graphic programming. So if you want to go into 3D modeling or, you know, building games, like cool stuff like this. And it launched, and it was a success, and now more and more countries thought, hey, we actually want to have a school like this as well. So so for me, 4 years ago already, I set up the Dutch school in Amsterdam, which I will tell you a little bit more about. But I'm now actually also helping to set up this school in Wolfsburg. So that's of course also where I have my position today. Nonetheless, I don't want to talk too much about that, but I actually want to talk about the educational model, because the interesting thing is that even though that I helped set up the school, I actually also became a student of the school. Because what for me was so beautiful about this approach is that 42 does not have any teachers. It does not have any teachers. It's entirely built on the idea of peer-to-peer learning, which, you know, probably many of you, if you do an internship, or what Gloria told in her story, is that you grow by having to learn from other people around you. So that idea of peer-to-peer learning is something that also when you get to work in a later stage after school is something, it will actually happen most of the time. So maybe you have a mentor or someone that guides you, but in most cases, you actually learn programming through a peer-to-peer approach. So we decided to set up this school entirely peer-to-peer learning. So there's no teachers, there's no, I don't know, semesters or clusters or books, or like sort of more the old-fashioned way of thinking. But it's a curriculum that is entirely project-based. And it's entirely gamified, which is really fun. So you start with level 0, and then you progress through projects all the way to level 21. So the idea is that whether you come there in 3 years or in 2 years or in 5 years, it doesn't matter. Because the whole idea of this system or this educational model is that you do a project. For example, you do one of the biggest projects, which is awesome. It actually have to build your own operating system, which will probably be like a sort of a basic Linux in that sense. It will take you probably about 2 or 3 months, I'd say. And you do this together with a group of peers who are also in that level. And the cool thing is that if you fail, which is for me was huge in school, because if I'd fail, I actually wouldn't make it to the next year. In this model, in this learning approach, if you fail, which basically means, hey, you did not have the knowledge that you needed to actually do this project, the only consequence is that you do it again. And that for me was such an eye-opener, because suddenly I could realize like, okay, so if I failed this project, it didn't mean I was stupid. It just meant that I needed a bit more information to actually do it right. And the cool thing is I can do it again, or even again if I want to. So that also means that some students, they do the whole curriculum faster, and I might take, 6 months to do one project instead of 2 weeks. And the whole this whole idea for me is very interesting. So I started to work to build this school, and it didn't exist. Like this whole learning approach did not exist in the Netherlands, and it also actually did not exist in Germany. And after a year, we set it up. We had a lot of students, and then I decided like, hey, heck, I need this, because I think everything that I missed in my education was something that I could see happening here. Like students that are willing to build a community, students that want to share information together, students that actually look for the success of the group instead of their own individual success. And for me, that was such an eye-opener to how education could also be. I did not do the full program, but as a part of the application process, you actually do a 4-week, they call it a piscine, or it's a sort of a selection month, if you will, or training or boot camp. It depends what kind of word you want to give it. But it basically means that for 4 weeks, very intensely, you learn programming in C. Well, I don't know if anyone has some experience with C, but if you know, it's like a very low-level language. It's quite a language that not many people learn nowadays. But what makes it very interesting is that this is a language that actually a lot of functions in many different other languages are written in. And so in these 4 weeks, you actually learn to build your own small programs. You learn to write your own functions. And as part of the first project is actually you have to write 25 functions and put them in your library. And then throughout the curriculum, you actually use the functions you built from scratch yourself. It's amazing. And so I did this 4 weeks of training, it was intense. So I started from scratch. I did not have any experience in coding. So even though I worked in hackathons and, I set up this programming school, and my dad is a programmer. He worked for the police. He's retired now, but he really did want me to learn programming when I was a young girl. So I did set up a website here and there. So I did have an idea of it, but basically nothing. So I started absolute scratch on day 0, and then after 4 weeks, the process I went through was just insane. Like, as I said, the underminer for me on day 0, I came in, and for me, I actually did this piscine, this 4 weeks of programming. I didn't do it in Amsterdam, where I built my school, but I did it in one of our sister schools in Finland, in Helsinki. And that was a very special experience, because from the day 0, so from the moment I stepped in, I was just a student right away. And I let go that the idea that was also, of course, part of building the school that I did in Amsterdam. But from the beginning, I was a student. But also from the beginning, this underminer just like landed on my shoulder and was just saying things to me like, what are you doing? You cannot program. You're almost 30. Like, you're actually going to do this as a student. what are you thinking? There are all these like super smart 18-year-olds. So like this underminer was just giving me a lot of bad talk, I tell you. But what for me was very special was that after a few days, when even though this undermining kept blabbing in my ears, is that it was very special that I could admit that I actually did not understand anything. And the only thing that happened, instead of the feeling being that I was being laughed at or that my teacher would be upset or something, the only thing that happened was that I would look to my peer on the left or look to my peer on the right and say, I'm sorry, I'm super stuck. Can you please help? And this person was like, I'm also super stuck. Let's just look at it together, and we brainstorm, we debate, and we code, and then we talk with other people. And slowly, this whole idea of peer learning actually gave me the understanding that to ask for help is okay, and to fail is even better, because if I fail, I actually understood what I did wrong, and the only consequence is that I just do it again. So for me, making peace with that idea of failing, and that for me, that the underminer was just swooped away after those 4 weeks. And one of the other things that I think for me was the biggest learning of learning programming, even though it was a short period of time, of course, I realized that, was that like from here, like because of that idea of problem solving in a different way of thinking, a very logical way of thinking, where you have a huge problem and you just divide it in smaller problems and then you look at them separately, and that logical way of thinking, it gave me the confidence of not being afraid to try out new things. And for me, that was very special because now I went back to Amsterdam and I continued programming, and I also continued back in my job to actually set up this school in Amsterdam, get more and more students in. As a result, I started actually to do all the things that I really wanted to do. So actually didn't put them in a very logical order, I see now, but one of the things that I always wanted to do is actually become a growth hacker, because I find data analytics very interesting, and I find the idea of marketing being built on experiments and data analytics very interesting. So I decided to do this growth hacking course, which I would have never done that before, because I would be like, well, I'm probably not smart enough, or why would they take me, or something. But that was really, really nice. And then one of the other things was that obviously, like I say, like I was not afraid of trying new things. I now understood the language of tech, which I didn't really understand before. And now I could go like do some games and do some small programs, and I could code a little bit. And I could sit with my dad, and my dad is now building apps in his free time, and we can program a little bit together. And even though that it's not, I'm not a student, or I'm not having a full-time job in programming, I could take this idea, this understanding of code back into my work as a marketeer, as a growth hacker, or whatever you want to call it. And one of the things that I think was my greatest achievement, because next to the fact that I'm also, a big adventure time lover, I'm also a big feminist. And one of the issues in the Netherlands is that in the traditional computer science studies, it's about 10% women, and almost no binary students. So for me, that is a huge issue. And having to have understood what people actually go through in a PC, one of the things that I saw was that, programming is for everyone. So obviously we all know that, right? But I needed to go through that process myself in order to actually understand it, like to actually feel it in my heart. And the result of that was that I could now translate that to the female environment of the Netherlands, and the non-binary environment of the Netherlands. And what we actually achieved is that I managed to bring up the percentage from 20% to 50%, which I'm incredibly proud of. I hope you understand. And I'm actually want to bring this to 42 Wolfsburg, because, well, as I said, I'm a woman, I'm a big feminist, and I think it should be equal. And I think that's also something that binds us here in the community. But yeah, so all of that said, I'm now building up the same school, but then in Wolfsburg, there's actually also one opening in the south, in Heilbronn. And we're opening with the first selection month in February. We will have a few more in March and April, entirely remote, obviously. But normally we have a really cool building where you all come together, and there's iMacs everywhere, and sleeping pots, and a library, and an AR, VR lab if you want to play around with that stuff. But yeah, so today I just wanted to share a bit of my personal story. So I think I'm at the end. Just gonna stop sharing so I can see everyone again. Hello, I'm back.
Yeah, but unfortunately we couldn't see you. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a very cool story. I just want to add a question for Senya that asked before. I think it was Senya. What age do you start it? Can we ask?
Yes, of course. So I started 2 years ago, so it's 27.
Okay. So do you think for Senya, do you think 32 is too late? What is your opinion?
No, sorry, no, I totally forgot that it was the question
No,
about
no, no.
Oh, no, not at all. Oh, don't worry. So if I can tell you a little bit about the students that I've seen, because I've been in this university for the last 4.5 years, is that I've seen students of 18, but I've seen students of 62, like, and everything in between. So one of the most inspiring people to me was actually a retired biology teacher from high school. And he is like, listen, the education system does not make any sense. And I love the idea of programming. So fuck it, I'm just gonna try it out to see if it's for me. Like really, it's for everyone. If you wanna just give it a shot, try it out, see if you like it, see if it fits for you. And if you love it, you know, your inner fire gets started, and then that's all you need. Age doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's great. I completely agree with that as well. So if anyone has questions, you can ask in the chat.
Thank you, Lisa, very much. I will just come here to. So I work in Volkswagen, and I'm so like really proud of the work you are doing. Yeah, Volkswagen is with your university, and we even support the students after finishing their studies there. And I was really I did interviews for few of your students, and I am surprised of how the skills they learn in a very short time, and they are really great. I mean, even we hired some.
Oh wow! I didn't know.
It's
That's
really
super cool.
So Volkswagen Digital Lab is supporting supporting the program, and also supporting the hiring process. So they help them to apply, and in the interviews they are doing great. And as you said, actually, because we are supporting this pair programming thingy and peer-to-peer learning, you see how really, I mean, they learned this skill very well, and they are really doing very good. I mean, it's amazing how you see people in a short term going into tech that fast.
Yeah.
It's amazing, really. Yeah, I'm really glad to see that. Like, I was always like, oh my, it's really great. Thank you very much. It's really amazing. Really.
Thank you. Oh, it's so great to hear. I get like a chicken skin to hear
Really,
that.
yeah. Like, I mean, when I was
really
doing
cool.
the interviews, I mean, they are great, really great. Yeah.
It's for me, that's very inspiring to hear, because I see that as well. Obviously, you know, being on the organizational side, is that there is this group, because people come from all over, because you don't need that past experience to apply, but it is similar as a, you know, master of computer science when you're done with the program. And they have all these different people. So people who dropped out of high school, people that have done already a master's, people who've done a bachelor, people who are moms, dads, you know, retired people, and they are all working together. So you have this group of 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds and 60-year-olds with all these different values and skills and mindset. Yeah, that's super special. You don't see that in regular university. Thank you for saying those nice words.
Thank you very much. It's really great. Yeah, the idea is amazing, and the outcome is great. Like, it's really, yeah, very nice.
Great.
Let's wait for a few minutes to see if anyone has any questions for Lisa.
You can always reach out on LinkedIn if you have any questions. I think my LinkedIn was in the meetup page, so you can always have a look there. But yeah, thank you.
Okay, so there's one question. How big is the network, and do you see it play a part in the attractiveness for companies to hire 42 students?
Yeah, so the network is ginormous now. It actually they grew a lot in the last year, and there are now 34 schools all over the world, about over 21 countries or 22 countries. I don't know on top of my mind. That basically means you can also switch. So if you're a student in, let's say, Wolfsburg, you could say, well, I want to be a student now in Paris or in, I don't know, Australia. There's a school, Indonesia. There's a school, South America. There's plenty of schools. And that's very interesting. And to come back to the second part of your question is, yes, I can definitely see that play a part in attractiveness for companies to hire, because obviously the bigger the network gets, and well, as it was just said, is that more and more companies see the worth of the students, because that's, of course, you don't have, you're not done and say, well, I'm a master of computer science student now. But you are a 42 school student. And since the network is so ginormous and big, and there's so many companies who know these students and their worth, yeah, we see definitely that plays in for the attractiveness.
Nice. Is there a website to join online the 42 program? Do you want to share there?
Yeah, let me just open a link and copy it in. So this is the school in Wolfsburg, but obviously, there's schools all over the world. So it depends which one is the closest to you, I think. But Wolfsburg is about an hour away from Berlin, as far as I know. Thanks, Madalena.
What does it take to become a 42 student, and what's unique about 42 Wolfsburg?
So to become a 42 student is you have to apply, and the application process, part of what I just described is part of the application process. So first you have to do a short online test. Well, short, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes, but it's basically 2 games. The first part is like a memory game, and the second part is a logic game. Pretty sure if you have, I don't know if there are people here with a little bit of programming experience or maybe a bit of gaming experience, or even if you have no experience at all, no worries. You just play this game at home, 2 hours and 10 minutes, and then you can become part of the selection month, which is the 4-week boot camp or training that I just described, which will start in February, March, and April. And that one is entirely online. So we rebuilt Discord in this crazy virtual 42 Wolfsburg building with bots that you can talk to. It's really cool. Yeah, so that's part of it. And then if you get selected to become a student, which is about 50%, but I say about because we don't have a fixed amount of spots, so we can 100% of the group is awesome. We can get 100% of the group, and then you become a part to be a student. So that is the whole process. And I will keep it very short, but what's the unique about 42 Wolfsburg? In my opinion, what's the uniqueness about Wolfsburg specifically from the 42 network is that we have a special branch in the curriculum that is also focused on the future of mobility. So obviously you can think of, automobility, for example, autonomous driving or robotics or AI in the fields of the future of mobility in product science. And that is something unique of Wolfsburg. So not a curriculum that you will see in any other school in the 42 network.
Cool. There's another question. Since Volkswagen is covering tuition, could you maybe suggest some companies which would provide a scholarship during 42 curriculum for students?
Of course, yeah. So at the moment, so basically that means that if you become a student and you find it hard to I don't know, move to Wolfsburg, or you don't have the money to do so, or you find it hard to have a roof over your head, for special situations like that, we offer scholarships. So next to the fact that Volkswagen is offering scholarships as well, we also have a company like Microsoft doing the same, and we're talking with some more partner companies to do something similar. A scholarship will be €1,000 per month, so it's I think enough to live from, especially around in Germany. So yeah, that will give you enough money to give it a go, I'd say.
Okay, another question came in. Will you be able to study abroad for a while and still choose to do that special branch that is exclusive to 42 Wolfsburg?
Yes, absolutely. So study abroad in the 42 network. I mean, yes. So let's say you've done your first part of your curriculum, you do your first internship because there are 2 internship. Let's say you do your first internship, so you go to Spain because you found a super cool company to work for, or maybe SoundCloud. You know, that will be awesome to work for, or Google, or whatever. And then when you come back to the second part of the curriculum, which will be the deep dive into your specialization of choice, then you can decide to do that in another school and then decide to come back to Wolfsburg if you want. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Cool. Any more questions?
Any tips for the PC? Nice. Um, well, of course, I'm not going to give you all the tips, but the tips that I can give you is really just to keep an open mind, to breathe, to continue, to keep trying and trying and trying, to make sure that you're not just there for you, but you actually are there to help other people as well. So to share, to be open to other people's opinions and ideas, to help each other out. If someone else is stuck and you feel that someone else is stuck, you know, stop with your own work and make sure that you help these other people, because in the end it's really about the success of the group rather than the success of the individual. Sorry, nothing but the question. We will have to talk, Hendrik. I think. Sorry, so Hendrik was asking about dogs in the facilities. Yes, I would love to have dogs in the facilities. Please, I love dogs. I'm a dog person. But yeah, let's talk. If that is for you and you want to bring your dog, I have no clue. I don't have that idea yet about it. So send me an email and let's talk.
Oh, now it transformed into dogs versus cats, I think.
Always. Let me just drop email here so you can always contact us if
What
you're
about
curious.
bunnies? Well, it's very inclusive, I see.
Exactly. Oh, bunnies, but they might nibble on other cables. I don't know.
Mm. Okay, last chance to do some questions.
And otherwise, you just stalk me on LinkedIn. It's okay. I'll try to answer.
So maybe not last chance. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lisa, for joining, and thank you everyone for joining the event. I hope you enjoyed all the talks. I think there were a lot of things to learn. And now it's networking time. So
thank you. Yeah, anybody is looking for a job or looking to hire, looking for colleagues, looking for open source contributions or projects to contribute to, you can have the hot mic now. There's 43 people who are listening. Please, not everybody at once. Let's try to have this organized. If you want to say something like, I want to start contributing to open source projects and I don't know how,
So
this is a great thing to say, for example.
I have a question. Bueno, several. It's about more like job searching and interviews and everything. I'm now like ending my studies as a master's student, and now I am looking for a job as a junior developer. But it's like always when I've been asked about the salary, and I really don't know what what number should I put? Because like I'm always been working as a part-timer, now as kind of developer assistant, student assistant, and like it's really, really difficult. What are your opinion about it, about junior developers, salary and everything?
I think first of all, you should think about what it is that you want. Like, what is it that you want and that you need, and then you can always argue for getting that. And of course, it's good to reach out to someone in the industry to ask, right? I think it really depends. It depends from company to company. Yeah, but like, I mean, I'm happy also to talk to you about that offline. I would not feel comfortable to talk about it here, but you reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I would have that conversation with you there also.
So as Gloria said, actually, it varies from company to company, actually. But yeah, you need to know what you want. And I think it's also important to know what the market, I mean, what's there, I mean, what companies are offering. So you can also negotiate, because negotiation is important to get the best you can get. And I think there are some online, like for example, Glassdoor. It will give you insights about companies and what the average salaries of each position even. I think it's helpful, actually, website, yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Maybe it's worth mentioning there's a really nice talk from our International Women's Day last year on our YouTube, and it discusses the point of salary and how to negotiate that and everything. And it makes the really interesting point that the money you get in every month is a big and important part, but there's all sorts of other benefits, like can you get education budget, can you get things like that, can you get stocks, and like it goes on and on and on. So of course this is one number, but COVID times, many companies are struggling a little bit, so you can find kind of what you want together with the person, HR person or manager, whoever you will be discussing this with.
Thank you.
But maybe one more thing, like whatever they offer, you ask for more.
Well,
actually,
it just
whatever they offer, you just put like 20% top of it, and then they give you 10% more.
But it just
No, I want to have your confidence. Oh, sorry.
No worries. I just last week I had an interview and I said what my salary expectation, and like the reaction of the manager was like, okay, and I'm like, oh, okay, that I think I'm like I expecting them a lot, and that's why I was a little worried about it.
One other suggestion, if you're in an interview situation and you don't feel comfortable giving a salary then and there because you just don't know what the going rate is in the city, I would suggest that you be honest and tell them, hi, I don't feel comfortable giving you that answer right now, but I'll get back to you in an email. And then if they're the right company, they'll understand that you didn't feel comfortable in the moment telling them a figure.
Okay, thank you.
I also have a question, maybe, from people who had the experience of having internships. So I'm a PhD student, and now that I search for internships, I think that I should be really strongly focused on the things that I want to do internship in. And I don't know if that makes sense to have an internship in a very narrow area, or I should try to apply for as many internships as I can and get something a bit wider for later having better experience.
I'd say just follow your interests, right? Apply for whatever you feel excited about, and it's always good to keep the like have a lot of opportunities, right? Or like have a lot of possibilities. So like apply for many things, and then hopefully you get to choose.
But the point is, I think also that I don't know, I haven't ever been in the other side to decide, but I think like when you're a PhD student, already people expect you to really know what you're like going to start to do as an internship. And I think probably also the competition is really high, like all the students who are doing exactly the same thing. So I don't know if I was in the other side of choosing the students, would I just go for people who are passionate about what they want to do there, or would I go for someone who is having the exact background while they are in the PhD level? So
I think if I can offer some tips, it's actually two. So first one, for what you just said, I always hired based on passion, but I think that is a very personal thing, and it depends on the company as well. I know I have the feeling, I don't know, maybe someone can stop me if I'm wrong, but especially for smaller companies, having passion is definitely over skills in that case. Showing that you have drive and grit and a motivation, and this is your passion, yeah, that then all the skills, it doesn't matter, because people get excited from your excitement. And then for the other thing that I was thinking about, what you said, like, maybe applying for more things, what really helped me is just to first apply to the things that I didn't necessarily want. That sounds a bit strange, but just to practice, because it helped me to see, what kind of questions can I expect, what do they want from me, what do I say on these kind of moments, do I find it awkward, like get a bit of confidence. I hope that helps.
I totally agree. I'm just asserting that, and I want to tell you that it's really like when doing interviews, I mean, I really look at like how much is the interviewee is excited about this thing. Excitement, motivation is the goal. Like it's really more important. Like you will know if they will be able to learn. Like, yeah, there is minimal. I mean, sure, there is something I need, but being like motivated to learn, excited about the subject, about the product, about this tool is the most important thing, really. Yeah.
You said a really important point, being excited about that, and also knowing the company and the product. When you send out CVs everywhere, make sure that you come to the interview like prepared about yourself, prepared about technical content, know a lot about the company. This can be a make or break as well.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to ask an anonymous question, you can send it to one of us, to Victoria or to Uva or to myself, and we will read this out anonymously.
So my name is Denise. I am in Nuremberg. And so I want to, first, congratulations for the 7-year anniversary. That's pretty good. And so I want to use this platform very open. So I have been working in a project for a while in women's health. I have this startup mindset, and I am looking for co-founders. And maybe this is a topic for the next thing that is about founding a company or something that I'm writing it up. But so I just want to say that people who are who have this startup mindset, that also like social entrepreneurship, and especially with web skills, with web app skills. So I'm very open for a dialogue. And so that's it. So my background is in design. I have been working also in innovation in healthcare projects, but of course I have a prototype, but I know that I cannot do everything. And I will really like to have women on board And so I am open for dialogue and for contact. So I will give my LinkedIn details in the chat. And yeah, so I hope that something comes out. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for sharing and good luck.
Thank you.
Maybe I have another question, if it's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, it's more about, do you recommend any website or something to like train oneself with challenge or something that can come in a tech interview or something like that?
I really like HackerRank. I use it a lot for SQL because I find it also fun. I like it to do it. There's also LeetCode, which is also used for technical interviews. So that's also, you can get used to a platform as well. There's also one website, I'll try to find it and I'll share the link now if I can, where you can actually sign up and a volunteer will do the interview with you. So that's also super interesting, I think.
I mean, I think that would be really, really helpful. I'm one of the person that are really nervous about interviews. And I'm always trying to get my friends to be the interviewer, but yeah, it would be better if a tech person it's making a mock-in interview.
I also recommend LeetCode, and starting with some of the easy questions is a nice entry if you're familiar with programming. And also there's this GitHub technical handbook, which I have found really helpful. I'm currently going through interviews myself, and having been on both sides as an interviewer at the company I was working at and now interviewing again, it's been really helpful. I'll link it here.
Thank you.
I've shared the link to,
Yeah.
I shared the link to Exorcism, which is a website. I like doing that. You can choose a track either with somebody's feedback, to which you can wait anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days. And it's for some tens of programming languages. Some are there, some are not.
There's also, I recommend the Code Wars. Also, I will share it. There are others which are used by, big companies for interviews even, like Amazon, Google, who else? Amazon, Zalando, they are using Codegeek, I think, and there is another one, I forgot exactly. I will share it as soon as I find it, not to give you the wrong one. Yeah.
Maybe somebody can copy all those links to Slack. I think it can be an interesting, interestingly compiled link that can be useful to remain even after this call is over. Anybody's fast to just copy paste it there.
Good idea.
Yeah, with this we come to the end of our event in a perfectly mannered and timed way. So good job, us, for being on schedule, pünktlich and everything. And thank you very much to the speakers. And I guess we can finish with saying, stay in touch and tell us interesting events you either want to talk at or listen to, and we will try to make that happen. If you're not on our Slack yet, then it's just slack.wtmberlin.com, to which you can find a link from the meetup page where you RSVP to this event, and all our events are on Meetup and on the GDG platform, which is linked through Meetup. Have a great evening. See you next event. See you next week, maybe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.